All right, so the rest of the episode, we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy 15 because Lambo and I are both very, very, very excited for this game, especially with this last week. They just announced so much crap.
Yeah, they're putting so much effort into this one. I mean, I haven't seen this much marketing and stuff behind a game, a Final Fantasy game, probably since 9 or 10, I want to say, almost even.
I would almost argue that the most marketing was 7, but
Yeah.
all the marketing for 7 came out like 5 years after the game came out.
Yeah, all the hype and stuff.
Because we got multiple side projects. We had Advent Children with 7. I think there was an anime series or something. I don't.
Yeah. See, for me, it's always a good thing when they release demos for Final Fantasy games. So some of my favorites going back are 13 had a demo. Final Fantasy 8 had a demo. That was on the Brave Fencer Musashi game.
Yes, it
yes,
was.
I know, right? If you
Yes, it was.
Going back real far, if you bought Brave Fencer Musashi, it gave you a section of the game to play. I think it was actually a version of the beach attack scene that you got to play, a chunk of that.
I have no idea. It's been
But
so long
yeah, I
since
know,
I
right?
played Brave Fencer Musashi or anything. So let's talk about a little bit what they announced. Number one, we got a release date. The release date is September 30th of this year, so right at the beginning of the holiday gaming season. And it gives us plenty of time to play it.
Yeah, and this is the first time they primed a Final Fantasy game at that time of the year. The last few have come out in like March.
They come out in like the spring.
Yeah, so this is the first time Square has kind of pushed theirs as like a holiday must-have kind of title.
I want to believe, and I could be wrong. I believe Final Fantasy 12 came out in the spring. I think they came out in the spring of 2006. But I don't quite remember. It's been too long.
Yeah.
I know others in the past have. So we got the release date, and along with that, they also announced a couple of side projects, which we just mentioned. One of them being a CG movie, which harkens back to like Advent Children.
Absolutely.
And I believe we had some big name voice actors in that. I want to believe, was it Mandy Moore played Aerith?
Yeah,
or
something
Aerith?
like that. Yeah, Aerith.
Yeah. This one we have a bunch of actors from Game of Thrones playing in it. I personally have no idea how I feel about that because a lot of times watching movies, particularly like anime and stuff, when you get voice actors in who are like normal actors and don't do a lot of voice work, it doesn't always work out. I watch a lot of Studio Ghibli movies, and one of my biggest complaints is they pull in big name actors to kind of draw people in, and then I don't think they do that great a job voice acting. Now, this could totally change. I mean, these people have a fantasy pedigree doing Game of Thrones, so maybe it'll be okay. Nonetheless,
I think things have changed in the past few years. Getting, for example, like a Kiefer Sutherland in there for Metal Gear and stuff like that. I think bringing them in actually kind of just increases the draw. And I think they will only do this when they know the game is going to be good.
Right.
That they know that this is actually might have a lot of success behind it. So that kind of makes me excited, to kind of go forward here.
we'll just have to wait and see on that. The CG movie, again, I don't even know. I know a little bit about what it's about. It goes back to the main character, Noctis. The movie focuses more on his father previous to the game itself. So I know there's some conflict in the kingdom, and I know 15's supposed to start off with that conflict already having like kicked off. So I think this is going to be a prequel kind of thing. But speaking of prequels, one of the other things they announced was an anime that's coming out.
Anime show. Yeah, you've seen the first episode?
All the episodes are up on YouTube for free, and if we can, maybe we'll throw the link in the video so you can go watch it now if you haven't already. I watched the first episode. It was a little over 11 minutes long. Great animation. Looked great. It's all subtitled because they haven't gotten American voice actors. So if you're a sub person, if you're a dub person, it's only 11 minutes long. You can deal with it.
Yeah, if you want some Final Fantasy backstory, deal with it.
The anime, and spoiler alert, I'm going to try not to spoil anything. It does focus a lot. It appears on the time that the demo that came with Type O. It was Final Fantasy 15 episode Dusai.
Something like that.
Yeah. It focuses around that time because it's about Noctis and the 3 other friends, like, traveling on the road. They give a little more backstory into why they're traveling. They don't hand feed you everything. They kind of just, it's normal talk, and you're kind of picking up a little bit on what's happening in the world and what's going to happen in the game. The big thing for me, and this happens at the very beginning of the episode, Noctis is having a dream, and I guess it's a flashback kind of dream. And one of the things in it is there's a monster who I can only assume is supposed to be Marlith, who's the fire fiend from Final Fantasy 1, which she's come back in previous games before, but I think the last time we saw any of the Fiends was Final Fantasy IX, and that's because that was a game that was supposed to go back to that.
Harkening back.
So it was nice to see them bring in a remnant of like one of the older Final Fantasies.
Excellent.
So let's move on. Let's talk about the demo because they released a platinum demo with this.
Yeah, and going along with you know the dreamscapes that you know Noctis apparently is going to be experiencing in the game, and this might be kind of a preview of other things he might be doing in the game because his dreams tend to be sort of strange. It looks like.
Yeah.
Or if it's just sort of just to show us different areas because the dream kind of format allows us to kind of go into different areas in the game.
Well, for those people who haven't played the demo yet or don't know what it's about, the whole thing starts in a dream.
Yeah.
It's Noctis as his younger self playing through a dreamscape, and it's a little weird.
It's strange. Yeah, he's got toy weapons, and it's silly.
You're following a carbuncle around, which for those people not familiar with Final Fantasy, carbuncle is that little like rabbity cat-like creature that's typically green with a ruby in its head. So we have that going on, and we get to try out the combat. They've changed the combat a little bit from the episode Dusai demo, rather than you making combos with different weapons. Now you can actively switch between the weapons.
Yeah, using the D-pad.
Using the D-pad, which in all honesty I like a little bit. I think it's a little smoother. Then I'm not dependent on the end of my combo is going to end with a heavy weapon, but I don't want to use a heavy weapon. Now I can just use a light weapon the whole time, heavy weapon the whole time, or switch in the middle of my combo. And I kind of like that.
Yeah, and it wasn't just that; it was magic attacks and stuff like that. You could kind of combo in too, and so that kind of made it a lot of fun, and will probably make it really kind of dynamic when the game actually launches.
Right, and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't played it, who doesn't want to know what happens. But the end of the demo, you do get to fight a boss. You become adult Noctis again, and you really get to try out the combo in a life or death situation rather than you're a kid with toy weapons like you are the rest of the demo. They actually put you in a life or death situation. And if you play the demo, make sure you look around for everything. There's a lot of cool little hidden gems in it. Not much to unlock, but there's some cool stuff if you really go looking around at it. So I'm really excited for 15.
I'm really excited for 15. It looks beautiful. It plays nicely. It plays a lot more smoothly than the first demo did. And you know, this really whetting the appetite and you know, pushing Final Fantasy to the front right now. That's kind of the number one thing Square should be doing.
So I guess even though this started out as an episode that was going to be all about our top 5 games of 2016, we did that, but this is a Final Fantasy 15 episode, and very similar to Future Sight, we're doing a special we call Jump. I'm going to make predictions again. So just let me get the hat. There we go.
There's a hat.
There's a hat.
Really?
My ball, yeah.
Really? Still?
You know how hard it is to buy a crystal ball this time of the year?
I don't know. Stocks high?
Sure.
Sure.
All right. Nerdstrodamus, predictions for Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 is going to release this year. And, unlike 13, we will get a huge open world. We'll be able to explore right from the beginning. With the advent that Marlith was in the anime, I expect we're going to see all 4 of the original Fiends come back. The Kraken, Tiamat, the Lich, and Marlith will all show up harkening back to a more traditional Final Fantasy experience. I think the story's going to be more cohesive, a little bit easier to understand than 13's was. No Fal'Cie, no Lissi, none of that. And finally, I think we're going to see a return of possibly the Omega, the Ultima, possibly even Ruby or Emerald weapons as optional bosses. Let's go whole hog with this. Anyway, those are my predictions for Final Fantasy 15.
Those are tough ones. You may pay the price for this, you realize.
You know what? I really, really want those things to happen, and I'm hoping that maybe I have some kind of magical power.
The tribunal is waiting. They'll be ready to give you your punishment or your reward.
We've got a little while, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a little while.
But once again, we will come back and revisit these predictions in an episode we'll call 2 Turns Later. But for this episode, thank you for watching. I'm Dr. Pants.
I'm Lambo.
Catch us again next time.